Hello and welcome to Buffoon of the Week. We're a show that reviews last week's news and current events, searching for people who did or said something so epically moronic that they earn a chance to be enshrined alongside of some of the biggest buffoons memorialized in the annals of history. And the best part is, you get to choose the winner. Just leave us a comment right down below this video with your choice, or head on over to any of our social media and sound off there with your vote for Buffoon of the Week. The last time you voted, you chose NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace out of a bunch of choices in our first ever free-for-all. Feel free to check out that video for that whole "is it a noose? Is it a rope?" drama, which split both America and our nominating committee. I guess you thought that the double down by Wallace was buffoon-worthy. A pretty bold choice if you ask me. For those of you checking us out for the first time, we release weekly videos on Mondays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So if you like what we do, smash that thumbs up button, and please consider subscribing to the show as we continue our march towards our next minor benchmark of 200 subscribers. Help us get there, will ya? It's just a small click of a button for you, but to us, it's a signal to really kick things up a notch. You'll see what I mean once we get there. Before we unveil this week's nominees, we're going to salute those who really put in an effort this past week, but just came up short of earning one of our top 2 spots. Here are this week's Dishonorable Mentions. Last week, the band formerly known as Lady Antebellum continued the worst PR stunt in history by filing a lawsuit against Anita Lady A. White to claim usage of her stage name after the original Lady A demanded $10 million to share the name. This is like that kid in preschool stealing your favorite toy, but then thinks he's so good because he agreed to share it with you. It's my toy, damn it, and I'll decide who I want to Sorry, flashback. Clearly this story will get worse before it gets better. Next we have 2 wannabe politicians. We start with K.W. Miller, a Florida Republican congressional candidate who launched a tirade on Twitter claiming that megastar Beyonce is an Italian deep state globalist Soros operative who buries coded satanic messages in her songs and keeps satanic symbols in her purse. That may be the biggest load of crazy we ever put into one sentence. And keep in mind, we once nominated Alex Jones. On the other side of the aisle is Democrat Jonathan Lopez of Oregon, who admitted that he sent himself an anonymous racist letter during his own race in an apparent attempt to drum up sympathy and to leverage today's heated racial climate to his advantage. And he still ended up losing anyway. But it goes to show you folks, buffoonery is bipartisan and is not exclusive to just one party. In other news, photos surfaced last week of perennial buffoon AOC out on the campaign trail in the People's Republic of New York City, pulling down her mask to blow bubbles towards a little girl who was wearing a mask. While the science on whether COVID bubbles exists is clearly unsettled, AOC opened herself up to the argument from the opposition that wearing a mask is more about people control than it is about disease control. Speaking of hypocrisy, we are back on DeBozo Watch. Last week, good old Bill de Blasio made it clear that large gatherings for events around the city, including Little Italy's Feast of San Gennaro and New York City Fashion Week, are cancelled. But the woke crowd that he panders to, they don't need to worry because protests are still allowed. It is simply amazing to see progressives like AOC and Bill de Blasio thinking that COVID doesn't affect political activities. As you recall, a few weeks ago, de Blasio said that contact tracers can't ask people if they attended the protest. So here's what we're going to do. If you're looking to have a large group together, be sure to call it a protest to slide it past this genius. But then again, he might just show up for a photo op. And finally, check out Don Lemon's Daily Double of Stupidity. First, Don talks over black actor Terry Crews by black-splaining the real mission of the Black Lives Matter movement.
Here's what I have to say. The Black Lives Matter movement was started because it was talking about police brutality. If you want an all Black Lives Matter movement that talks about gun violence in communities, including, black communities, then start that movement with that name. But that's not what Black Lives Matter is about. It's not an all-encompassing. So if you're talking about, if someone started a movement that said, cancer matters, and then someone comes in and says, why aren't you talking about HIV? It's not the same thing.
But when you look at the organization, police brutality is not the only thing they're talking about.
I know that, but I agree, but that's not what the Black Lives Matter movement is about, Terry. Black Lives Matter is about police brutality and about criminal justice. It's not about what happens in communities when it comes to crime, black on black crime. People who live near each other, black people, kill each other. Same as whites.
Then later on last week, Lemon goes from black-splaining to Jesus-splaining.
But here's the thing. Jesus Christ, if that's who you believe in, Jesus Christ, admittedly was not perfect when he was here on this earth. So why are we deifying the founders of this country, many of whom owned slaves? And in the Constitution, the original one, they didn't want, they put slavery in there, that slavery should be abolished because it was the way the king wanted. And then the Congress said, no way. And so they had to come up with an alternative about.
We should, of course, point out that the Bible actually does say that Jesus was born without original sin and is indeed perfect. But clearly, Don Lemon knows better than all of us, including God. But in the face of this week's nominees, even Lemon's Doubledip fails to make the cut, as this week we nominate convicted liar Michael Cohen and Hitler-quoting football star DeSean Jackson, who are both head and shoulders above the rest. This week's first nominee is former Trump fixer and convicted liar Michael Cohen. Back in 2018, Cohen was sentenced to 3 years in federal prison after pleading guilty to tax evasion and campaign finance violations. But when COVID-19 broke out, Cohen was one of the many non-violent prisoners afforded the privilege of serving house arrest out of concern for their health and well-being. Quite the step up from federal lockup. But instead of being thankful for the break he got, Cohen acted like he was a free man, going on social media whenever he wanted, so he can post what he sees while strolling down Madison Avenue, and even getting caught out on the town with friends by the New York Post, which plastered photos of his late-night social activities on its front page. Oh yeah, this totally seems like hard time to me. So on his next court appearance days after this night out, Cohen was taken back into custody when he refused to agree to written terms of his house arrest. Of course, Cohen's legal team was taken totally by surprise, with one attorney, Roger Adler, claiming that it is not a crime to go out and support local businesses during the pandemic. It is when you're under house arrest, Roger. As we release this video, Cohen is currently in an upstate New York prison in a coronavirus-related solitary confinement, where he has plenty of time to think about how his own arrogance landed him back here. Like what you see so far? Go ahead and smash that thumbs up button. Also, leave us a comment and tell us what you're thinking. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another show. This week's second nominee is Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver DeSean Jackson. Last week, Jackson posted anti-Semitic messages on social media, which included a fabricated quote attributed to Adolf Hitler that has been promoted by the Black Hebrew Israelites, a group that's connected to a deadly shooting rampage in a kosher market last year in Jersey City, New Jersey. He also posted and deleted other posts expressing admiration for black nationalists, as well as known bigot Louis Farrakhan. Obviously, DeSean was thinking,
I don't know what the hell he's thinking.
As you can imagine, the backlash was quick and painful, but it wasn't as one-sided as you think. Other former sports stars, like NBA baller DeSean Jackson and NFL Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe, actually stepped in to somewhat defend Jackson. For his part, Jackson posted a subsequent semi-apology pleading ignorance to the quote's origins.
On behalf of myself, I just want to let you guys know I apologize. I didn't intend any harm or any hatred towards any people. I'm for one, I'm for love, and I extend it every day. People that know me know I have no hatred in my heart, and I never try to, put another religion down to uplift my religion or my race. So, from the bottom of my heart, I just want you guys to understand that, and it's coming from me and my feelings, and I just hopefully everybody respects my platform, my opinion, to try to just enlighten my people. And just let everybody know that there's no hatred involved.
But even after the apology, the damage had been done, as the Eagles and the NFL all came down on Jackson with the very strong penalty of a stern talking to. I mean, seriously guys? We give out bigger punishments to children. But don't you worry, folks. We're going to keep a close eye on this situation to see if the NFL takes away DeSean Jackson's PlayStation or internet privileges for any amount of time in the near future. Hey, don't forget that Buffoon of the Week is all over social media, so when you're online, make sure you like us on Facebook, you follow us on the Twitters, and go on over to Instagram and like us there too. But the most important thing you have to do is remember to subscribe right here on YouTube. After a few weeks away, it's time once again to break down the nominees so you can make an informed choice. So welcome back our trademark pending Sharpton scale of buffoonery. First, it'll measure the buffoonish nature of each nominee by comparing them to the only known perfect buffoon, the Reverend Al Sharpton. Then we'll measure the buffoonish magnitude of each nominee's actions using our custom unit of measurement, the Sharpton. Time to put in that work. To say that Michael Cohen let his arrogance get the better of him may be the understatement of the year. All he had to do was keep his head down, show a little humility, and stay out of the limelight. But much like his former client, he craves being a somebody. That's why he was out on the town. That's why he's on social media posting videos and talking about a book deal. And that's why he's now in federal lockup. Cohen earns a personal score of 78, while his actions rate a whopping 277.02 gigasharptons. This may be DeSean Jackson's first political buffoonery, but he is not a stranger to controversy off the field. Reports go back as far as 2009 about Jackson's alleged gang connections after an arrest in LA, and he was once cut from the Eagles in 2014 for his alleged bad attitude. That said, this social media posting has less to do with bad behavior and more to do with being ill-informed. Like many before him, Jackson didn't have a clue what he was posting about, but you'd think the word Hitler appearing in the post would raise a red flag. So Jackson rates a 65, and his subsequent apology takes the act down out of the stratosphere to a mere 88 gigasharptons. And so, the stage is set for yet another titanic battle of epic buffoonery. But only one can win. Tell us who you got for this week's Buffoon of the Week. Hey, thanks for sticking around till the end of the video. We really appreciate it. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button, and please, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We have a lot of great plans for the rest of the year, and we want you to be a part of it. Come back next week where we'll have 2 more nominees, but only one can be Buffoon of the Week.